He's here with us, the man, the myth, the magic, none other than Dave vonKleist. Dave.
Oh, please, Brent, that's just too much. What are you reading? Are you reading from a script or something?
No,
I'm
just winging it, man. I'm just winging it.
Oh, gosh.
But I did kind of want to say that and everything, because, you know. Wait a moment. People have missed, in all honesty, people have missed you. Okay, you used to be on the air all the time. Way back when you did Power Hour, they heard you every day. They heard you to the point probably they didn't want to hear you anymore, but they heard you nonetheless. And so then you were gone for a while, and you came back with the original incarnation of this show, the American Freedom Report. But due to technical inconsistencies from your location outside the U.S., you couldn't keep it up on a regular basis, and people have missed you. So, on some level, Dave has become a myth to some because they haven't heard from you. So why don't you, bring us a little bit up to date about Dave. First off, I'm curious on some of the major stories that have been out there. The so-called death of Osama bin Laden being one, the attacks on Libya being another. Do you have any viewpoints that you'd like to share with people since they haven't gotten a chance to hear your perspectives for a while?
Well, as far as the Osama bin Laden thing is concerned, I had to laugh when they finally decided to do away with the bin Laden boogeyman. Of course, they immediately filled those shoes by going after Muammar Gaddafi, who's been in the wings for how many years? 15, 20 years, something like that. It's sort of like Muammar was in the news back in the 80s, but then they had a new boogeyman that they could capitalize on, Saddam Hussein. And then they got rid of Saddam, and of course Osama bin Laden was right there. So now they've pretty much played the Osama bin Laden boogeyman thing and milked that for all it's worth. So they had to get rid of him. Of course, as far as Osama is concerned, I believe he's been dead for years. I mean, Benazir Bhutto referred to his death on the interview with David Frost, and about a month or two later, she was blown up just before Christmas. You remember that 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh, yes. And then when they reran the interview, that particular part of it somehow missed the air.
Yeah, but it's still out there. It's out there on YouTube. But the point is, Osama, as far as I'm concerned, when they announced that he had been killed a couple of weeks ago, I had to laugh. Okay, fine. They needed to get some other boogeyman going. And, of course, within a week, all of a sudden, Muammar's back in the news. Oh, okay, fine. So now let's see. Are they going to do away with Muammar because they've got this new perception, this new right that they have in their minds that they can go after anybody in any country for any reason if they think that they're going after the interests of the U.S. So I can't help but think that, they'll probably take out Muammar Gaddafi. And then who's next on the hit list that the government might have? Let me see. Could it be Hugo Chavez? Could it be, I don't know, throw a dart at the map. They'll figure out somebody to go after. Oh, let's go after North Korea. Let's go after anybody.
The one thing I can almost guarantee, they won't select based on politics. They will select based on what directly benefits the globalists. In other words, if it benefits them to go after Hugo Chavez, they'll go after him. If it doesn't, they won't. It has nothing to do with the politics of Hugo Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Obama, same thing with Kim Jong-il.
Yeah. So, you asked me about what my feelings were about Osama bin Laden's being taken out and about Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Okay, well, there you have it all rolled into one. And like I said earlier in the show, I hate to be such a pessimist. I hate to be such be so negative. But right now, my particular feelings, I've been out of the movement now. I went off the Power Hour 2 years ago this week, as a matter of fact, 2 years ago, 2 days ago. And I've had time to sit back and reflect and take a look at what happened. And to be quite honest, I'm happy to have been able to take that time to step away and look at the United States from a different perspective. And also to be able to reassess my position in this world. And to me, right now, my only comment or advice to the listeners would be that the battle has yet to begin, or it's just now beginning. And that is the battle for your soul, for your heart, and for your mind. And folks, if you succumb to hatred, if you succumb to anger, and if you succumb to your desire for revenge or any of those negative qualities that we all have as human beings, if we succumb to that, then we have already lost the battle. Somehow, and this is the real challenge, we have to, I hate to say it, but it's true, we have to be Christ-like in our levels of forgiveness. We have to be able to say, I know what's happened to my country. I know what's happened to me, my family, my career, my job, everything. But I have the people around me that I care about. I have the things that I need, because it's not what you want, it's what you need, folks. And, we have to learn how to count our blessings. And yes, to love even the unlovable. And that's a really hard thing to do. I mean, I still have a difficult time with that. And to be honest with you, in some ways I haven't missed being, out of the picture for the past year and a half. And Brent, you know this to be true because you were there blow by blow on almost a day-to-day basis when all this stuff was going down behind the scenes for the past 3 years. I would say that I took it on the chin, not so much from government officials or from mainstream media attacks and stuff like that, but from other people in the Patriot movement. The Patriot movement, unfortunately, and especially the 9/11 Truth movement, is so permeated and infiltrated with people that are backstabbers, people who are more concerned with their pockets and their praise and the accolades and the recognition and the kudos. They're more concerned with selling their videos or their books or their magazines or their radio shows than they are with getting at the real truth. And by that, when that happens, they've corrupted themselves. And this is one of the reasons why I just said to heck with it. If we can't trust fellow patriots, and let's face it, I took a serious screwing from some of the so-called patriots that are out there. If you can't trust them, then, hey, what's the point? And so, and I'm kind of glad that it happened the way it did, because now I've really come to understand what is really important in my life. And in my own personal life, you mentioned my daughter a little bit earlier in the show. The circumstances around my daughter when she was growing up, of course, when I became aware, when I became awakened, when I became concerned with the direction this country had taken, of course, the rest of the family members thought I was going nuts. And most of the listeners out there know exactly what I'm talking about when your coworkers and the family members say, hey, you're nuts. You've got real problems. And so for a long time, I wasn't really in touch with my daughter, and I did not get a chance to see her grow up. Well, I've sort of been given a second chance. I've formed a relationship with a couple of wonderful kids and their mom, and I get a chance to have a family life again. And that to me is more important than trying to get, receive recognition or make money from sales of videos or anything like that, or do a radio show. I mean, yes, I do get a certain amount of self-satisfaction in doing what I did for so many years, because I know I'm standing in the light and there's satisfaction in that. But like I said, if you lose your heart, if you lose your soul, if you lose your joy, then you've lost. If you can maintain the fight and still keep that, then God bless you. And if there was a way that I could possibly put that together, I probably would jump in a New York heartbeat. New York minute, as they say.
And that really is the trick. That really is the trick. And every one of us goes through this, that, there comes a time, and there was a time I actually had to, I pulled my show, I went off the air for a period of time because I just couldn't handle it anymore. Yeah. It was like, why are we doing what we're doing? We're doing what we're doing so that we can live our lives. If we stop living our lives, then we're defeating the entire purpose.
And that's exactly right. And that's right. Because for the 15 years or thereabouts that I was broadcasting, well, I mean, just the Power Hour alone was nearly 10 years. In that time, I think Joyce and I took 1 week off. And I had people telling me all the time that were saying, Dave, you've got to take some time off. You're going to burn out. You're going to burn out, man. You got to step back and smell the roses once in a while, Take a chill time. And unfortunately, I didn't do that, as the situation was not one that would allow that I was in. But now, like I said, I've had some time to be able to step back, and I'm glad that I have, because I feel much more centered, much more in touch. I've got my priorities straightened out a whole lot more than I did before. And no, I haven't lost sight of the mission. I haven't lost sight of the goal. If you recall, at the end of every Power Hour show, we would scream, "We will not stop." I haven't stopped. I've just changed my approach.
There you go.
And
yeah. You've been down in Argentina for a while, and I know currently you are in the U.S. because that's why we have such a great connection to do today's show. You've been away for a while. Mm-hmm. Has there been like a culture shock coming back? Have you noticed differences from when you were there last time?
I wouldn't say that there are differences. I would just say that it's more intense now. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I've been able to step back from the U.S., experience a different culture, a different rhythm, a different environment, different methods, different values. And now that I've come back here in the States, so far every single person that I've come in contact with, that I haven't spoken with in a while or haven't seen in a while, every single one of them are more stressed out than I've ever seen them. Everybody is scared. Everybody is afraid of their jobs, if they're lucky enough to have one. I mean, there are a couple of guys that I saw this past week that I hadn't seen in a while, and they're still looking for work. They were looking for work when I left. And, people are getting really beaten down with the economy, with all of the negative stories, with the increasing police state, the encroaching laws that are just trampling everybody's rights. Yeah, there is a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a culture shock, but to be quite honest, it's not been surprising. I rather expected it. But it really does wear down on you. I can feel the difference. There's a different, there's electricity in the air, and it's not a good type of electricity. I don't know what's going to happen, but something is going to have to give, and it's going to have to give soon. The sad fact of the matter is that even if we had a functional voting system that had integrity, it would still probably take 2 or 3 generations to get back to where this country is supposed to be. And quite honest, I don't believe we've got that much time.
And I would have to agree with you as well.
That's why I'm saying that the priorities now, folks, should be your family, your friends, and the love that you can have around you. That's what's going to get you through it. Not how much money you have or how many books on analyzing the USA Patriot Act or any of that type of stuff. I mean, yeah, you want to stay informed. Of course you do. But it's more important to be able to have love around you because, I mean, and I hate to sound like a peacenik from the 60s, but my God, folks, what else is there in this life that's important? It isn't the biggest TV.
And you go ahead and sound like a peacenik because I've been saying this for ages, that we need to reshuffle our value system because the things that we have made important aren't as important as other things.
Absolutely. And, the other thing that I've noticed, I've had a firsthand experience on comparing the healthcare systems between the United States and Argentina. On a personal note, a year ago, I had a double hernia, and it was no fun. And one of the other expats that's down there, as a matter of fact, you had his interview on the air with his wife, Jesse Baxter. Bill Baxter's a former he's a former police officer from Florida, and he had a hernia a year before down there in Argentina. I said, "Hey, Bill, do you have a doctor for that?" And he said, "Yeah." So he gave me the doctor's name. Now get this, folks. I called the doctor at 11:30 on a Friday morning. He said, "Be at my office at 6 o'clock. We'll take a look." I went to his office. He took a look. He says, "Yeah, you've got a double hernia. You need surgery like really soon or else you're going to have a real problem." And so he wrote a piece of paper and handed it to me. "When you leave my office, go downstairs, get your blood test." He wrote another piece of paper. He says, "Monday morning, go to the clinic and have your x-ray." He wrote another piece of paper and that says, "On Tuesday, go get your ECG, and Tuesday night, come back to my office with all the results." So I left his office. I got the blood test, 50 pesos, and that's $12.50. They give me the results. I went to the clinic, got my x-ray, cost me 50 pesos. $12.50, and they hand you the x-ray. I went to the clinic where they had the ECG. That cost me 90 pesos. Oh my gosh, that was like $22.50. And they give you the results. I took the 3 lab results. I went to the doctor's office on Tuesday. He scheduled me for surgery on Thursday. By Friday night, I was home. Bottom line, less than 1 week. Friday morning, I was home. I didn't call his office till almost noon the week before.
Okay,
in less than a week, free with the doctor's visits, the lab tests, pre-op, prescriptions, surgery, hospital stay, post-op, everything. $1,475.
Dollars or pesos?
U.S. dollars.
U.S. dollars. Wow.
That would have cost $30,000. If I'd stayed here in the United States during this period of time, I would be broke and destitute right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It is. But we've got Obamacare. We've got the finest health care system in the world. Finest for who? Finest for the doctors and the hospitals and the pharmaceutical companies. Not finest for you.
I've got an amusing story. I just don't want to end the show without sharing it with all of you. You'll appreciate it. True story. Orville Smith, the store manager for Best Buy in Augusta, Georgia, told police he observed a male customer, later identified as Tyrone Jackson, on surveillance cameras putting a laptop computer under his jacket. When confronted, the man became irate, knocked down an employee, drew a knife, and ran for the door. Outside on the sidewalk were 4 Marines collecting toys for the Toys for Tots program. Smith said the Marines stopped the man, but he stabbed one of them, Corporal Philip Duggan, in the back. The injury did not appear to be severe. After police and an ambulance arrived at the scene, Corporal Duggan was transported for treatment. Now, according to the police report, the subject was also transported to the local hospital with 2 broken arms, a broken ankle, a broken leg, several missing teeth, possible broken ribs, multiple contusions, assorted lacerations, a broken nose, and a broken jaw. Injuries he sustained when he slipped and fell off the curb after stabbing the Marine. This came from our webmaster, and this was published in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh boy.
Gotta love it. Hey, Dave, it has been so much fun. Oh wait, before we go, we still have another Spy 101 clip. Pay attention, folks.
When you're tailed by multiple vehicles, you're at a disadvantage. They can flank you, take alternate routes, box you in. It helps to have a team of your own. The electronic stability program was originally developed to help keep cars from sliding on icy roads. But it's a great tool for the precision driver. When you need to slide, you can simply turn it off and turn it on again when you need to maneuver.
And Dave, you haven't heard these clips, but we do a segment now on this hour number 2 called Spy 101. These are clips from a show about a former spy. And my objective is that people just learn techniques, because you never know what you're going to need to know when you're fighting the kind of fight that so many are fighting for their freedom.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Knowledge is indeed power, that's for sure.
So, Dave, it has been absolutely terrific having you here.